Hello out there everybody, Montgomery Collections here today with two French Model 1886 bayonets. These bayonets are pretty fascinating, they have a fairly rich history, so I'll get into a little bit of the history and some of the variations in a second. First I kind of want to describe what we have here, these two particular bayonets in my collection. They both have what is known as a white metal hilt. Later models would have a brass hilt. They both have the swept forward quillons still on there. Many of the later ones would have those removed, and they would even start manufacturing them without the quillons. They are what is known as a cruciform blade. There are four sides to the blade, as you can see, which kind of forms a T-section. And they're a very fragile design. They break very easily, which is why in 1935 they would start shortening these, most of them, all the variations. And sometimes they would just break and they would be sharpened and shortened and reused again. The one thing that's pretty interesting about these types of bayonets, most press catches are located on the back, on the pommel. These are located behind the muzzle ring. There's a rod kind of, runs along here and clicks it into place. This one doesn't have a working press catch. That can probably be fixed though. I hope so. And that's about it for describing these. Let's go over the markings at least. Here is the serial number for the one at the bottom here. 61244, and I believe that is maybe an F and a J, could be a K. There are two capital letter P inside of a double circle here and here. You can't really see it. On the back here we have a capital letter A just on the outside of that track. And then on the top of the blade, as we will see on this one, you have this symbol, see there, and then actually on the front of the muzzle ring there's one too, kind of like a letter A. Now this guy has a serial number. You can see that L, that scripture L, 42997, capital L in a double circle, capital H in a circle. You can see there's that A again on the press catch. On the back of this one, there's some kind of serial code, 9018, which that's pretty interesting. And then there is another very small mark right there on the quillon. The scabbard for this one actually has a serial number of its own. It is extremely hard to read. It doesn't match. I'm reading a 6277. It's probably one more letter in, or one more number in that. Anyways, that's a solid description for both of these here. Let's go over the history of these. They were used from 1886 throughout World War II, if you can believe it. These are probably most famous for the French soldiers, the poilus. During World War I, they used these on their labels. These originally fixed to lapels, and I think later they would fix to the Mannlicher 1916. Germans would capture these, and they would give them to the reserves, again during World War I. And just like I think the Polish would receive a lot of French items, especially these bayonets, the Polish would have, if you can find them, a WZ code at the bottom, so it would say WZ with a number. And I believe the Germans kind of stamped their numbers down there as well. Now, I think Imperial Russia probably used some of these during World War I as well. And after World War I, a bunch of these were shipped to Turkey for use. So let's get into some of the variations. There's a lot of variations. I'm going to use a book to kind of help you visualize these. But first I just want to go kind of a overall, just give you an overall of all the different ones. There's the original model 1886. That's what you see before you. There were minor modifications kind of made between then and about 1935 is when they began to shorten all of these. Let's go down here to this book. I'm going to show you some of the different press catches and some of the different variations that you'll find. Now here's the original model 1886. You can see that it has the hook quillon. First they would have the white metal hilt or grip there. This is the 8693 16, and in 93 they would kind of just change the press catch, kind of make it a little bit easier for the soldier to use. 1916 they would also do a little bit of something to change the press catch. Now here are the different press catches right here. I've marked them off. This is the original one. You can see it's a circle. I think immediately in 86 they would kind of make the checkering on that a little bit more flush, a little easier to grip. Now in 1893 they would go to this kind of design, a little easier to manufacture for them, and 1916 right here. The way that you can tell if these if the quillon was ground off or not, if it was ground off, you kind of see a little bit of a rounding there, and if it was manufactured, it would be rectangle. So right here you can see this was manufactured, and this was probably ground off right there. And my books are falling right now. So those are some of the different variations there. After 1916 they would start using brass grips for the most part. As I mentioned, the final modification was in 1935, and a lot of soldiers brought these back even from World War II as World War trophies. And the guy that I procured these from, he said that the guy he got them from brought them back from World War II. So hopefully he did, because that's kind of good to have a little bit of provenance to it. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. This is Montgomery Collection. If you like bayonets, check out the rest of my channel. I like to do a lot of history variations and show you my collection of bayonets. And if you like collecting things in general, especially, I have a lot of stuff like that on my channel as well.